what we're going to do is this. You and I are obviously not in the same room, but we're in digital space. What we're going to do is, I'm putting a digital animated cartoon version of you in a room that just has 4 white walls.
Okay.
So, with that information, you can do whatever you like. You can have Gorilla Grodd come in there, smash it open. You can have the room explode, and suddenly you're part of the Green Lantern Corps, whatever happens. You can take things out of the room, whatever, as we're talking. Make sense?
I love that. Okay, sure. Whatever you want, man. I'm game.
All right, cool. So, would you like to add anything? Like, what do you see any windows around in this white space?
My void that I control?
Yes. You're in control of it.
I would say put a big long window behind me that has a vista that goes red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet, off into infinity.
Wow.
Like almost like a 90s screensaver, you know, like a tunnel.
Okay.
Like that.
Excellent.
You know the 90s screensaver I'm talking about?
I think so. You know what? Honestly, the only one I can think of is the pipe. Do you remember the pipes from Windows 98?
Of course I remember the pipe, but there were a lot of different variations.
Did you ever play Ski Free?
Yeah, of course. With the zombie?
Yeah.
Or the Yeti?
Yeah, were you scared of that Yeti?
I never understood what made him come. Like, why he would suddenly appear and kill me. I always was, like, looking for some sort of cause and effect there that was never available to me.
There was no explanation because I guess, like, these Windows 98 games, they had no interest in having any sort of story happen.
I tried to do Minesweeper, but I always felt like I was being recruited to the CIA. Too much thinking for me.
Okay, I'm going to hit you with a strong question right out of the gate.
Sure.
You talk a lot about Trump on social media. I want to know if you feel like, in the off chance that he became president, how do you think that would affect comics, superhero fiction, and the way we write about that sort of stuff?
Well, you know, politics always influences art to different degrees. And when you have a figure as sort of cartoonish as Trump, analogs for him would start showing up everywhere. The issue with him, in terms of as a character, is that he's such a cartoon and such sort of a fascist Hitler type analog, Joseph McCarthy type of thing, that I don't know what's to be said about him that isn't readily apparent. I mean, like, have you ever read Transmetropolitan?
I read, like, some of the first volume.
I adore Transmetropolitan, and the two sort of figures in Transmetropolitan, the two political figures, are the Smiler and the Beast, and they're both basically different types of conservatives. The Smiler is sort of a Mitt Romney, Marco Rubio type of conservative. Smiley, Paul Ryan, like this, like smiling, handsome, you know, upright white guy. And the Beast is more of Nixon or a Dick Cheney, sort of like a Karl Rove, like a slovenly, disgusting, sort of the soul of greed and decrepit horribleness. Yeah. And Trump is neither of those. Trump is not a stereotype. He is his own problem. He is your drunk uncle at a Thanksgiving dinner, yelling stuff that you're embarrassed of. So, like, how will it affect pop culture, comics, cartoons? Weirdly. Like, I'm sure some people, it will be incredibly hard to do a representation of him that isn't just him, if that makes sense.
Right. When you're writing a villain, an American Alien, excellent, by the way, but I really like your Lex Luthor.
Well, to me, my Lex isn't a villain in the classical sense. He's a pragmatist to the degree that it's terrifying. You know,
he doesn't see emotions; like, it's purely logic. Do you see Lex as emotional at all?
I think my version of the character is emotional, in as much as he's noticed he has to be, and it's affected his behavior. Like, he's very good at appearing not like a sociopath. The reason he goes off on this super long monologue in the 4th issue of American Alien is because he's mad at Oliver Queen for setting him up with some student. He's like, fuck you, I'll give you a fucking quote. But then after it, he sort of tries to blow it off like, I just sounded really evil, and Clark kind of laughs about it. But in reality, yeah, I would say he is not a sociopath. He's just a very bad person. But he's a very bad, smart person. Not like Trump, who's just sort of a very bad person and a very rich person.
Did you learn anything about Clark? I know you think a lot about Superman, but after writing and taking this very new personal angle on Clark, like, did you find anything different that surprised you about the character of Superman while you were writing him?
Well, for me, you know, you say new personal angle, but Birthright was sort of a personal angle. But what bothered me about Birthright, I like that comic. There have been plenty of really good Superman comics, but what bothers me is that they're all about how this guy becomes Superman. And I wanted to sort of make that, because to me, Clark Kent isn't Superman. I don't believe Superman exists functionally in the life of Clark Kent. I think it's just a costume this dude puts on. And
Clark
whereas
Kent is a
Batman,
costume.
No.
Oh, the other way.
Superman's a
Okay.
costume.
I just pulled the Kill Bill.
Yeah, Kill Bill has the Clark Kent as the costume, which makes sense for Bill to think, because Bill's a fucking sociopath.
Yeah.
You know, he
wants it to be that way. He wants that.
Yeah,
he wants to think that the world
that
is not good because good people inherently pretend. It supports his theory. Yeah. It supports his lifestyle.
He needs to believe that, because he's the sort of guy who'd walk into a wedding and kill the groom. You know, like Bill's a piece of shit. And that take on Superman, by the way, I think is boring. I think the idea of this omnipotent alien being very charitable to humans is boring, when what's really so much more exciting, and really the thing I set out to try to prove, and simultaneously the thing I learned, is what if he's not pretending? What if, in fact, him putting on the cape is pretending? What if when he looks at Batman, he sees a fucking crazy person in a costume? And he's now wearing a costume too, and it's weird for him. I was nervous that it wouldn't work. And I think the thing I learned was that if you give a character like that space and just give them a whole issue where all they do is hang out with their friends, and there's no action, there's no Superman, just a dude talking, you can find stuff you would have never expected to find inside of that character, and inside of any character.
Max, thank you for being in this now rainbow screensaver ski-free room with me. This has been great, man.
Thank you, Dominic. This was really fun. Thanks for contacting me.
What I look like, a valet?
Keep it, it's yours.
Hmm?